Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Well, we have a lot of information to cover once again. The royal family has been out and about. Let's take a look at everything. Let's go. We're going to start off with the Countess of Wessex. She went to visit the Countryside Education Trust, I hope I say this right, in Bellew, Hampshire today. She met with Lord Montague for the official opening of the Fort Climate Center. She looks very happy and at ease and out doing her job. Quite frankly, I am not happy with Charles for not making them the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. I don't understand. These two people who work so hard for the monarchy, in my opinion, are getting the shaft. Not happy. Moving on. Next up, William and Catherine were out, and Catherine wore a headscarf. She looked gorgeous. They went to the Muslim Center to meet Londoners who raised thousands of dollars for disaster relief in Turkey. Catherine would look good in a paper sack. But I love the fact that they went out of their way to go and see these people and participate. You guys should know that this Hayes Muslim Center raised over 25,000 pounds for the disaster relief in Turkey and Syria. Nicely done. Catherine and William got a quick origami lesson as well. They made cranes, I believe it was. All right, moving on. Now, yesterday, I told you that Catherine, Princess of Wales, was with the 1st Battalion of the Irish Guards because she's their colonel now. But more pictures came out. You guys know how I feel about that. When more pictures show up, you know, I feel like I need to go back and revisit the story. She looks fabulous in camo. I think she did an excellent job. It was snowing, which I gotta say, I think made for some fabulous photos. I mean, yeah, she's just marching along in the snow. Love it. She learned how to do first aid in combat, you know, if you have a wound, if you have a gunshot wound, what to do, how to take care of the patient, how to carry them back through the snow. I love the fact they call her Combat Kate. Yeah, she learned a lot, I'm sure. I mean, seriously, I know she's out there just to draw attention, but I'm still sure that she's learning a lot. What I really like is that even with the christening, they did not knock her off the front page of all of the news in the UK. There might have been a side note about the christening, but Catherine's photo took precedence on the front of every newspaper. And that, in my opinion, is exactly how it should be. Don't you guys agree? She's out there doing her work for the country. All right, moving on. Next up, we're going to talk about Camilla. She had a reception for International Women's Day. She had a lot of people there. She had a lot of people she had to go around talking to. So she had a reception at Buckingham Palace. Now, all of these women, they were entrepreneurs, athletes, authors, entertainers, and, you know, they got together and celebrated all the achievements of women. I think it was a success. Look how many women showed up. That is just amazing. Also, for International Women's Day, Princess Eugenie posted some photos of her and Beatrice and her mom. Very nice. They look cold, but very nice. All right, next up we have King Charles. He received the Governor of Western Australia, Mr. Chris Dawson, and his wife, Mrs. Darylyn Dawson, during an audience at Buckingham Palace. He also met with Professor Mark Compton, who's also known as Lord Prior, Order of St. John's. We're going back next up to this Ngozi Fulani woman again. Basically, what she's saying now is that the palace didn't say that they were sorry to her. Miss Hussey apologized, but the palace didn't. But that's not really what her major beef is. So I want you to understand. So she doesn't believe the palace did enough for her to help her is what it comes down to. So I want you to hear, I've edited it down for you so you don't have to listen to the whole thing. She's on the set with her daughter. Listen to what she said when she was on Good Morning Britain.
reception last November, Buckingham Palace made clear the comments made by Lady Susan were deeply regrettable. Lady Susan immediately expressed her sincere apologies and stepped aside from her honorary role. These apologies were reiterated in person at a meeting in December that was filled with warmth and understanding. That reflects the original statement. At the conclusion of this meeting, a joint statement was issued in full agreement with Ms Fulani, in which these apologies were accepted, and it was recognised no malice had been intended by Lady Susan.
Well, here we get to the fresh bit. In that statement, they say a number of pledges were made by the Palace which have all been honoured, including enhancing diversity and inclusivity programmes. It was also agreed that no further media comment would be made. And here's the bit. For the avoidance of any doubt, we are deeply sorry for the incident that took place and apologise for the distress and difficulty it caused to Ms Fulani. Why isn't that enough for you?
Who are they apologising to? If you're sorry, tell me you're sorry. If you're not, it speaks for itself.
So let's be clear. She's upset that the palace said, you know, Miss Hussey apologized, but she's saying the palace should have apologized directly to her. Then she went on. Listen to this.
There's a number of things wrong with that statement, if I'm honest. I think the agreements that they've proposed that they've met or honoured are not the agreements that we set out with them. And I think if you're able to make a statement in the middle of the night to the public, why can't you give the apology that you did say you would?
OK, if they were to put that statement in an email to you, a private email to you now, and you were to get it in the next 2 or 3 minutes...
If you have to ask somebody for an apology, it is not an apology. I'm just making the point so that everybody understands, yeah? I don't see what is so hard to say, I'm sorry. You sent me an invitation, so you know how to find me, you know how to say sorry. If you're sorry, then say sorry. If you're not, I get it. But when you make this apology to everybody, I don't know who you're apologising to. The palace hasn't intervened. I think they could have, all right? So what I've had to do, I've now temporarily stepped down as CEO of Sister Space. I am announcing that now because the service users and the community can't access us properly. This whole thing has cost us a fortune because we had to pay our own PR to stop the press from coming up. It was horrible.
So did you guys get that? She's saying, number one, even though she's had multiple apologies, and even though Buckingham Palace just put out another apology, she's not accepting it because it wasn't to her personally. Because the other two apologies don't count anymore. Number two, the palace didn't financially assist her to stave off the people who were mad at her. And number three, she doesn't believe that they met their obligations, which, you know, were set up with them, which they did meet their obligations. And now she's had to step down from her job as CEO at Sister Space. So there was another young woman on the GB News who had something to say about that. Listen to this.
Ngozi Fulani, she's starting to get on my nerves now because, you know, there was this whole, you know, her big fallout with Lady Susan Hussey back in November because she asked her where she's from. Ngozi has re-sparked this controversy only just a matter of weeks where she was pictured with Lady Susan Hussey accepting her sincere apology. Number one, she is the one that put this out into the public sphere in the first place. If she really wanted to tackle this head on, she could have had a private conversation with Lady Susan Hussey and this wouldn't have been in the papers or been explored the way it has. And now that things have settled down again, she's done this TV interview where she's blaming the palace and saying them, why did it take so long for them to say sorry? Why was it so hard? And I'm like, she's literally ending her own career. Well, it's time for us to move on from this conversation. No, I wasn't offended because I've said previously, all throughout my career and in personal situations with dealing with, you know, white people or different people of different ethnicities, it's a standard question. Where are you from? I ask people the same thing. I feel like Lady Susan Hussey comes from that generation where sometimes ignorancy has been bliss. But I think it's too far to be calling someone like that a racist. Me personally, I know it's different strokes for different black people. It's not one size fits all. But in that situation, I didn't find it racist. I was offended how Ngozi handled that situation and she took it online the way she did, because now she's supposed to be someone who's concentrating on Sister Space, helping women through domestic violence. You can't do your job now because you've gone on this crusade, which should have ended weeks ago, months ago. But no, I don't think it was racist.
So this person on Twitter made a very good point. Miss Fulani wanted the palace to intervene her and help her with the abuse she received, but yet Twitter crucified Susan Hussey Nobody helped her. Yeah, you're on your own. As you can see, I myself posted on Twitter about it. She's gotten 3 apologies and she caused this entire incident. What's the issue? And I got a response from Anne Rain saying that the finances are suspect. She's got a large salary, unaccounted for finances, and that's why she's under investigation, and that's really why she's stepping down. Interesting. All right, moving on. Next up, Evans E. on Twitter pointed out that at the Better Up event that Harry was at, that there were a lot of empty seats. So here's the picture. You can't really tell until you zoom in, and then sure enough, there are a lot of empty seats. Now, Harry got up on the stage and goes, "Helping people gets me out of bed in the morning." Really? I thought maybe it was some of the, meds on your bedside table that might have helped you get up and out in the morning. He's sitting next to the owner of Better Up. I don't see how that's happening. All right, next up, Prince Harry's lawsuit against the newspaper is going to go into court in May. Let's see what happens. I'm going to be watching that one. All right, here we go. Harry's kids got the title. People are going, it's so predictable, because the only thing these two have is the connection to the royal family. So while they're calling it Empire 2.0 and they're calling them racist, and don't forget Harry said, "I want a family, not an institution," and Meghan went on about how the titles were a curse and all of, her best title is this and that. And what did they do? They introduced the world to their little prince and princess while they used their Duke and Duchess titles. Let's not forget that Omid Scobie said that they were not going to use those titles because they wanted their children to be raised in as normal an environment as possible. But they did a quick turnaround. Now, I think the reason they did the quick turnaround is because they went too far. Charles took away Frogmore. Charles took away, or is getting ready to take away, the Counselor of State. They're getting ready to lose their titles, so they decided to run and grab them before Charles had a chance to remove them. Now, it didn't take long before the victim stuff started. The royal family didn't come to Lilibet's christening, even though they were invited. It was a snub because they don't care. You know what I mean? Here we go. Now, it's being reported that Harry and Meghan are trying to claim the moral high ground by saying, listen, we invited the king and the queen and, William and Catherine, but knew there wasn't a hope in hell of any of them showing up. But now they're claiming victimhood. Look, they snubbed us. Well, we know that this christening was probably thrown together at the last minute. There's no way it was planned 6 months ago. William and Catherine, and so do Charles and Camilla, they have a full, things that they have to do. They can't just drop everything to fly to California, knowing that anything they say could be twisted and turned and they could be accused of something else. No wonder they didn't go. Interesting, they don't seem to be saying anything about if they invited the Spencer side of the family. After all, they did say that Lilibet takes after them with her blue, blue, blue eyes. I wonder if Thomas Markle was there as part of the close-knit group. So, of course, here comes Dr. Shouty Shola saying that Charles and William snubbed the christening. They snubbed the christening of the whitest, palest, most red-headed kid you ever saw. Yeah, it's true. So in going with this whole victim theory, do not put anything in your mouth right now because you will spit it out. Listen to this.
Trolling Daisy. James, they seem to have made this also a power move at the same time in the royal family by having their unofficial PR man, Omid Scobie, announced that King Charles, Queen Camilla, Prince William and Princess Catherine were all invited to the christening last Friday, but they didn't come. Seriously, I don't, what is it with these people?
Well, Andrew, their business model is to trade on victimhood, and that's very difficult when you're amongst the most privileged people on the planet. So in order to do that, no slight can be so small that it can't be turned into a major offence, and no inconvenience can be so trivial that it can't be turned into a breach of your human rights. So for the royals, every pimple is a boil, every boil is a tumour, and every tumour is terminal.
Pretty good, huh? But you know who had it better? GB News. They know how to say exactly what it is, and Kinsey Schofield was on here again. Listen to this.
Has announced that their daughter, Lilibet, was christened last Friday in an intimate Californian ceremony. But in a bizarre twist for the couple who have made it their life's mission to tear down the monarchy, they've referred to their children as Princess and Prince for the very first time. Now, well, it's no secret that Archie and Lilibet have always been entitled to royal titles, thanks to the law introduced by King George V in 1917. Harry and Meghan's decision to use the titles has raised some eyebrows after Meghan's previous unevidenced claim that Archie was denied a title because of his race. According to the Sussex's odd little mouthpiece, Omid Scobie, the King, Queen Consort and the Prince and Princess of Wales all declined an invitation to attend the christening. Well, Kinsey, as you can see, there are wonderful faces already on the telly. What do you think of this deliberate snub, was it, by King Charles and Prince William to not attend the christening of now, of course, Princess Lilibet Diana?
Oh my gosh, Patrick, in November, they were called outdated, abusive, emotionally and physically, racist colonizers. The hypocrisy astounds, but you know, America loves a good backyard baptism. So congratulations to Harry and Meghan. It's been 2 years officially since the Oprah interview, so it's nice to see it come full circle. And now we know what a liar Meghan Markle was throughout that Oprah Winfrey interview. Don't forget, this woman is famous for saying quotes like, all people should be linked, not ranked. But here's my princess daughter. And then we've got Prince Harry that says he just wants a family, not an institution. But meet my son, Prince Archie.
Yeah, and exactly. And if he said as well there was a lot of like hereditary issues and all of this that came with being a member of the royal family, why on earth would you want to deliberately give your son and daughter a link to the institution that you think has got all of these problems and gave you psychological issues?
I mean, I think it was Biggie Smalls that said it's all about the Benjamins. And if I'm wrong, that's because I am a white woman from Texas. But I do think that this is money driven. The Sussexes obviously know that their greatest asset is their connection to the royal family. And this is their way of reminding the world we are royalty on a global scale.
Do you honestly think they're just trying to merch their kids?
Yeah. I mean, I really do. What good does it? I mean, Lily was born in America. What is she princess of? Olive Garden, McDonald's? I mean, what are you're an American. What are you the princess of? I don't understand.
Yeah, the princess of Taco Bell.
Now, while the kids did get their titles, they didn't get the HRH, and they are not happy about that. And they're like, well, Eugenie and Beatrice have them. Yes, but they were given them at birth, and their father was a working royal. You know, I told you guys it wasn't going to take long. She's going to start merching. You'll see. It'll be the Lilibet doll, the Lilibet clothing, Lilibet this, Lilibet that. I'm telling you, it's like the sun doesn't even exist anymore. Now, in the meantime, for International Women's Day, Meghan went out to LA to have a lunch with supposedly some friends. But when the lunch ended, she came out with this woman in the blue sweater who happens to be an employee of the restaurant. And the two of them ran to the car, and Meghan goes, thank you guys, gets in the car and drives off and leaves this poor girl standing on the sidewalk. By the way, the pictures were taken by Backgrid. Cole Dial-A-Pap. There you go. Yeah, doesn't she look like the cat that ate the canary? By the way, you can very easily see in her face the lines that weren't there before. It's very obvious that she has had some plastic surgery. That's why she was missing for a little bit there. What really irks me more than anything is that, come to find out, these two are getting absolutely everything that they asked for and that the Queen said that they couldn't have. They've got their half in, half out life. They've got their titles. They're making all kinds of money. The kids are prince and princess. And they run back and forth to the UK for royal events whenever they want to shore up their royal connections. And I think, I have to say, I got to be honest, I think that's why the Queen didn't step down earlier. I think she knew that Charles was going to be soft and wouldn't do a very good job. And I have to be honest, I'm so disappointed in him. Like, you know, I thought that Harry and Meghan took these titles as, you know, let's face it, they told everybody what a rotten monarchy this is. Charles updated the website on the morning that Catherine and William were out at the mosque. What makes him any better than what Harry and Meghan do with stealing all the limelight? He allowed, and I'm saying this, he allowed Harry and Meghan to attack William, attack Catherine, attack Camilla, attack the UK, attack the Queen's life's work with the Commonwealth, besmirch everybody, run around, run amok, and then he let them have the titles for the kids instead of saying, you know what? No, I'm not going to give the kids these titles. I'm pulling your titles. I love you, but we're done here. He's weak. He really is. And now they're saying that Harry and Meghan are going to attend the coronation. They're going to want little coronets on the heads of the children, for more Netflix content, I'm pretty sure. I will say there is a little bit of consolation, though. The sugars are going crazy. Why would you run away from this institution and then saddle the kids with these titles? Why would you claim X, Y, and Z about the royal family and then attach the kids to the family? And so the Sussexes had to put out a statement overnight that said those titles are their birthright and the matter was settled and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that doesn't help the sugars out who have stood behind you the whole time and you basically just screwed them over. In the meantime, Harry and Meghan's approval rating has nosedived even more because the few supporters that they had left in the sugars have now abandoned them. Unbelievable. Now, I have no doubt that they will release pictures of the christening. There'll be all kinds of photos, probably on the day of the coronation, as well as photos from Archie's birthday party. And King Charles deserves it. I am so disgusted. He needs to pass the throne to William. I'm telling you, this is why the Queen didn't step aside, because she knew he would be rotten at the job. Now, of course, I need to be fair, so I'm going to let you know that on Twitter, it's being reported that the King and Queen were not aware about the christening, and he was not aware that Harry and Meghan were going to use the 6-month anniversary of the Queen's death to release the title issue, and apparently something's coming down the pike. Now, that does sound interesting because this article, which I found on Twitter, says that the palace seemed to be scrambling after the information was released by People magazine. And it is noted that not one word of support or happiness came out of anybody's mouth from the palace. Now, at the same time, Lady C, who seems to have some really good connections in the palace, said things are not what they seem. There are going to be some unwanted consequences, and they took advantage of a technicality. But, there's going to be some stuff going on behind the scenes. There's been a lot of speculation about Archie's birth, and she's constantly putting a pillow under her shirt. What does she know that we're guessing at? Whew! All right, you guys. Now, I usually give shout outs, and I have 2 channels I want to give a shout out to. The first one is this one called Parody Whitney. She makes up songs to what's going on. They're hilarious. You guys have got to tune in. And the second channel I want to give a shout out to is this one. Now, this young lady is hilarious, but she's very succinct. I love the way she talks. Just pop on in, take a listen. If you like her, subscribe. All right, you guys, I know that is so much information. Now, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please double check to make sure if you're still subscribed, because the other day I lost like 75 people in one day. There's no way that many people left. So double check your subscribe buttons. Don't forget to leave those comments below. Don't forget to go up into the description box and you'll find the links to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, my Patreon, my physical mailing address as well. For those of you who have donated through the Coffee Fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.